Hi, I'm Jerne Shapiro, and I'm an epidemiologist. I'm here with Pop Culture Debunker for Contagion. Action. All right, let's get started. Not a good sign, is it? All right, we're in the United States now, so it's really giving a demonstration of how fast globally the virus has been able to spread. So this is a really good demonstration of just how quickly throughout the world we're able to travel. We can be anywhere within 24 hours. So now he's in Japan, on the subway, dense population of people, elevators, coughing again, insinuating that there's respiratory droplets that are part of it. And what I like about this gentleman here is not only how delusional he is, but it's alluding to just all of the different food chains and population encounters that we have. And he's about to get hit by that truck. And he would not be captured in our surveillance tools, right? So he would just be considered a traffic fatality and completely missed as one of the initial cases. So it's gonna look like there's this random spread when we would go back in time and try to do an epidemiological investigation on that area. And it might be challenging to figure out who that first person was just because we never had any virology done on that individual. All right. Let's watch the second one.
For every person who gets sick, how many other people are they likely to infect?
I have a whole entire lecture on R-Naught in my infectious disease epidemiology course here. I love her. And it's such solid, good public health information that is being proposed to a government agency that's going to have to weigh implementing these public health interventions with the real world economic factors. And I think they did a great job here. There is no exact right or wrong answer in these situations. Each community, each nation, each pathogen has to be taken into context at that time. Let's see if we can find the next one.
It's figuring us out faster than we're figuring it out.
It doesn't have anything else to do.
That's right. This virus's job right now is survival. So it's going to do everything that it can to be able to survive. And mutation is a very wonderful and practical adaptive tool that our pathogens have developed. All right. To think about being alone with all these sick people, everyone's got a mask, but you don't have one. Chaos ensues, rioting, right? Because the internal need to survive is going to kick in for people. And then you get in, oh dear. Not only is the villain in this movie the virus, but it's Jude Law. And he does a great job of taking advantage of people's fears and concerns. And here we see the degradation of our infrastructure in our country, where we don't have the food supply chain has broken down. We're seeing our first responders not coming anymore. Looting. We didn't see this with the COVID-19 pandemic. And if you look back on it, you'd go, oh, this really didn't happen. But what I think is a huge difference between the COVID pandemic and something like this here in the movie Contagion is the case fatality rate. The COVID pandemic, we had a case fatality rate with the initial alpha strain of about 1 to 2%. In this movie right here, the case fatality rate is 20% with universal susceptibility. Not only do you absolutely know people who have passed away, but you can imagine the deep intrinsic fear that you would have about going to work, meeting with anybody else, right? It is the pandemic on steroids. Okay, so I think that the movie did a really good job actually depicting about how what we think of as so stable and strong and how it can crumble so easily.
If we even had a viable vaccine right now, we would still have to do human trials.
Okay, so here we are, we're in the midst of the pandemic and we're trying to figure out how do we get ourselves out of this, right? And there is the heroic researcher who is dedicating her life to try to be able to save others. She realizes that we have a lot of regulations in our country to protect human subjects from being used inappropriately. So they're doing monkey trials here, and all the other monkeys are dead, and there's one surviving. And so she thinks, very deeply flawed, that one live monkey is going to equal one live human. Interestingly, this kind of hero mentality is not uncommon. There is a history of scientists that use themselves to test themselves on what they're researching. Work like AIDS, cholera, yellow fever, even some cancer work. What we didn't see in the clip, which is what absolutely drives me crazy after this, is that she then goes and visits her father. In reality, your immune system has to take about 1 to 2 weeks to build up an immune response. So they absolutely skip all of that time, squish it down, and she goes and visits her dad and says, "Don't worry about it, Dad. I've got you covered. I'm not gonna get sick." So overall, this movie is filled with a lot of doom and gloom. But I think there are a few silver linings that we can look towards. And I heard a quote a long time ago from Fred Rogers, from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And it was a quote that his mother had shared with him when he was growing up. And it was, when there is adversary, when there is trauma or something bad happening, shift from focusing on the negative and look for the helpers. The helpers were people from the CDC coming forward and putting their own lives at risk. The scientist who's willing to vaccinate herself against an unknown pathogen, right? There's people in the communities that try to help each other. And this happened in our pandemic, and we see this throughout our lives and every day. When the pandemic first happened, I investigate outbreaks. That's what I love to do. I called our local county health department and I said, "Hey, I've got some skills, maybe I can help you." They said, "Oh yes, please." And before I know it, I had 5 PhD students in epidemiology who'd reached out to me and said, "Hey, how can I help?" And that is where it all began. Things began to snowball. We got people trained. We started to take action and do good. And I think it's really empowering when you are able to find a way that you can make a meaningful impact. There may be chaos everywhere around you, but if you can find a way to implement change, to bring people and lift them up, then that feeling nobody can take from you. And you can move through life knowing that you are one of those people that make it a better place. I would give Contagion a realistic rating of an 8.5. Thanks for watching Pop Culture Debunker. What do you think we should watch next? The best director, the best cameraman. I love it. All right. Hi, my name is Jerne Shapiro, and I'm an epidemiologist. I'm here to debunk Contagion. Action. I think I made up something there. And this is Pop Culture Debunker.